Welcome, Niharika, in this new episode of Opening Up with Dipanshu Rawal. Thank you so much for doing this. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing really well.
This is the first question that I ask all of my guests. Um, I think I don't know if you have done your research, but anyway, how would a loved one introduce you?
Wow, man. I think I should have done my homework. I think they'd introduce me as somebody who's eccentric in a good way, as in just always laughing or cracking jokes and like fumbling between either you're cracking jokes and completely light or like getting into really deep conversations. So
Hmm.
hopping between the two extremes.
Here's an insight that I just, kind of caught while you were saying that. Whenever I ask this to anyone, how would a loved one introduce you? They'll always tell something about their personality, that I'm this kind of a person, or I'm really passionate or curious and stuff
Right.
like that. But when I ask directly, Niharika, tell us something about yourself. Most of the time, people talk about their profession. I'm a
I mean,
XYZ.
I don't think that we are our professions or our feelings, right? Like, we're more
Yeah.
than that, we're just people. So that's how I describe myself.
And how would they introduce you professionally? What do you do?
I mean, my job just shifted like it's 23rd of July, 23 days ago. So, I don't even have colleagues yet as such. I mean, I don't think I'd ever have colleagues because like I'm a solo person business. But I think potentially if somebody has to, they just introduce me as this really lazy and fun writer. I think fun has to be a very important element because it's what I practice every day and what I experience too often. So
Oh, yes, definitely one of the topics that I had in mind that I wanted to discuss with you. So, congratulations on being self employed. Welcome to the
thanks.
club. Um, Funny enough, it's been exactly a year since I became self employed.
Wow.
So, last year, I guess around 10, 15th, 10 or 11th of July, that was my last working day last year.
Wow. It's been a while, yeah. It's
Yup,
been
it's been a
one hell
while
of a journey.
for both of us. Yep. So, you're right. That's how I know you as well. Here's a resume that I have of yours in my mind. If I have to create your resume, I know Niharika is someone who has been through a great fat loss journey. Okay. And by fat loss, not, I don't only mean, like just shedding of fat, but actually becoming somebody really healthy. I don't know that much personal stuff about you, but from what we have discussed or what I've seen from your writings, that's what I know. Uh, you have been a person who has traveled a lot and has some amazing Instagram pictures that somehow you archived.
I
and
deleted the account, so
oh, okay, okay. And what else? What else? And you have been a person who has worked with amazing companies, and now you're embracing this journey of self-employment, being a
right.
writer.
Very, very well said.
How's this resume looks like to you? Because I know you, for a fact that you've been in a position where you were analyzing other people's resumes.
Yeah, so I have been a recruiter. That's one. How does a resume look to me? I mean, it looks like a journey of experiences and exploration. As in, yeah, like whether it was traveling or solo traveling or, like trying to combat my battle with obesity, borderline obesity. It wasn't obesity yet, or just like working in good companies and then suddenly taking a leap to quit my job. It's just been experiences, right? So it's definitely been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of growth. Like even like you said, weight loss. I think there's so much more to it than just weight loss because it's not easy when you're 18, 19, and 20 to land up in the gym at 6:30 a.m. every day. It requires you to wake up at 6, and nobody in college wants to wake up at 6. So that was like my life didn't have as much partying, eating junk, eating local. And I'm very grateful for that because I got something much greater. And also like about, working out. It's been 7 years and I still wake up and work out because I just can't do without it, because it doesn't just impact your body, but it also impacts your mind. And like, fitness is a lifestyle. Eating healthy is not like a 3-month diet. It's like a lifelong process.
Yeah, totally. So I'm really curious before we move forward and discuss all these
Right.
resume points individually. Uh, Talk to me about the fun thing because I got really curious about it. That you are a
What?
lazy and fun. You are a lazy and fun writer. Something
Yeah,
around that.
so the thing is, I'm a very lazy person, like ever since I've got self-employed. I mean, I work for
Totally
now.
relatable. Totally
Yeah, I work
relatable.
like 3 hours a day, but then I feel I get a lot done in those 3 hours as opposed to how it used to be 8 hours during my work day. And I'm still, like, to be honest, I think I'm still figuring out time management and I'm not really good at it, but I'm embracing that also because it's new, right? I've never been put in that situation. So coming back to lazy and fun, right? I think I'm lazy, but in an efficient way. I'm so lazy that I just want to get things done and be done with it so that I can chill. And then I just, like, that laziness becomes productivity. And with a fun writer, what I mean is I see a lot of times people are so worried about money they're making or the stats or metrics or rejections, but I've never cared. Like, I think after my first month I just stopped caring because I knew, like, it's just going to be more fun to have fun. Why worry about these things? The only thing in my in my ability, like, the only thing I can do is be a part of the process, but I can't control the outcome. I can control the process, so that's what I control.
Where's the fun part? Because you mentioned that I always add the
yeah
element
so
of
i
fun.
Yeah, so I think the fun part is that I don't worry about what's going to happen. I just like, I just have fun in the writing process. That's why it doesn't feel like work. It feels like time flies by. So,
Totally understand. Totally relatable. I do worry a little bit here and there because the mind does what it does. But nonetheless, about being lazy, totally relatable. So funny enough, I hired a fitness trainer like 3 weeks ago, and he asked me on call, Dipanshu, do you have any illnesses? And I said, I'm lazy. Said, oh, like, I'm lazy, and sometimes if I don't push myself to get up from bed, I'll stay on bed and I'll cause myself back pain. So that's the
okay.
severity of laziness. But anyway, um, it's new. Whatever you're feeling for the last 1 month, it's called the honeymoon period. Like you have so much time in the world. How do you
No, but
spend?
it's actually not that I have so much time, but it's just that I'm not yet sure how to manage it because my working hours used to be 12 to 8. So that's very different. Now, suddenly, with the lockdown opening up, we're also meeting people after so many months. So you end up
Hmm,
meeting them in the evening. So my 12 to 8, which I'm used to, like, it's now become like I'm meeting somebody at 6 or I'm meeting somebody at 7. But I'm still used to work, like starting work at 12. So that leaves you with very little time. But at the same time, I'm not beating myself over it. I know that it's fine. Like, we'll see July how it goes. No need to rush it. No need to dive into work. And then we'll see August onwards. Like, I want to take first 15 days of July off. But it's only because my LinkedIn post went viral that I have opportunities coming in. And I didn't want to say no to that. So that's how I'm still working in July. Otherwise, I would have like just chilled and done nothing. And I was very excited to do nothing.
I relate with you so much on this point. So excited to do nothing. That should be a t-shirt poster, graphic t-shirt,
Slogan.
right? T-shirt slogan. Yep. So, talk to me about this thing because I'm actually at that very point of my fitness journey, uh, where my BMI says that I am borderline obese. My BMI is 29.5, and at 30 you became obese. Right now I'm overweight, and my journey started because of my depression and anxiety, and I actually had those habits or disorder or whatever you call it of binge eating, and it continued for so many years. How did it start with you? Was it like because of some inherent medical condition or what?
How did I become fat?
Yeah, in simpler
I
words,
just
yes.
no, I just became fat because I loved food, and everybody in my family loves food and food. I don't know why I'm pronouncing it wrong. So everybody loves food. We all eat a lot. We really, really, really love food. Like all of us have been, my mother also used to be 107 kilos and then she lost 35 kilos.
Oh.
So yeah, I didn't have an issue or something, but it was just that I wasn't into sports and I was into eating. So it didn't get balanced out as much.
Hmm. So what changed? Why did you start this
While I
fitness
started
journey?
losing weight.
Yep.
Because I wanted to, as in, like, for many years, people used to tell my mom that, you are into fitness, you have lost weight, why don't you tell your daughter to do it? And she said that I have been there myself. And whenever somebody else tells you to do something, you don't do it. It feels like a punishment. It has to come from within.
Hmm.
And when I was in college, I don't know what happened. Like, it wasn't that I had like a moment of epiphany or I decided one day that, hey, I'm going to lose 25 kilos. But I just realized that, you're 85 kilos and should lose 20 kilos. You'll start looking better, feeling better. And it's just a nice thing to do. But then another thing there was that I told myself, I'm not going to not cut down, but I'm not going to compromise on food. I don't want to go on a diet. It's very
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
important that I enjoy losing weight than punish myself losing weight, because those people lose weight and then they come back and gain weight. So I ate chocolate, I ate desserts, I ate everything I wanted to, but then I just had like moderation. Like I wouldn't munch on chips every day or eat fattening food every day. So I just like had a balanced diet and worked out. I didn't do anything like which is rocket science.
So here's something that I became a life coach after listening Rich Litwin's some videos, speeches and stuff. He's a great life coach. In one of his YouTube videos, he mentioned that when we are talking about our successes, how we became successful at something, even at the smallest of the things, a lot of times we miss out all the hardships or all the motivation behind it. Like we forget mentioning it. That's why I'm like trying to understand, because it's hard for me to believe that you were overweight and then you suddenly started waking up at 6 a.m. and started working out,
But
and
I
then
was waking up at 6 a.m. even before that, because in school we had to wake
mm,
up at 6 a.m.
mm.
So like there wasn't like a change in that. I was just adhering to my previous schedule.
Did you go through some kind of body shaming and stuff?
Uh, no, yeah, like like how people go through very serious body shaming. I don't think that happened. Like I think I can't even realize if I would have no, even I didn't body shame myself, and nobody else also body shamed me. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. I feel all breakthrough journeys don't need to have a devastating reason behind it.
No, sure, sure.
Like sometimes people think to be an artist you should go through something. To be a poet you should go through a heartbreak. To be a writer you should have like some crazy experiences in life. It's not that. Like sometimes good things can also have no bad reasons as causes, right?
For sure, definitely. So, how long did it take for
It took
25
me a,
kg?
it took me like I think a year and a half, because I also don't I have injured ligaments since I
Okay.
was 15, so I couldn't run or jog. So it took me longer. Also, like twice I even injured my knee again. So that put me in like 2 months of bed rest each time I did it. So I think then it must have taken me like 18 to 24 months.
Now I look back, so when you mentioned that the fitness was one thing that like a habit or a lifestyle you developed, one of the lifestyle that I have developed over those years, 18, 19, 20 and above, was of writing. I guess I started writing when I was, I don't know, like maybe again 18, 19, somewhere around that. And I don't know how to not write. Like if I'm in a creative rut, or like for example last year I went through dengue for a 2 3 weeks or whatever.
Hmm.
I couldn't write. I actually didn't have any physical energy to write. I felt something is missing from my life. I don't know how to not write.
Right.
So I totally understand that emotion. Um, were you always spiritual and religious in nature from the very beginning?
I'm not religious at all in nature.
Okay.
Um, yes, I am not very well informed about it, so I wouldn't make a comment about it. Spiritual, yeah, always. I mean, I learned Reiki when I was 18 years old, and I started reading The
Hmm.
Secret and everything when I was 16 years old, and then I did Reiki level 2 when I was 19. So it has always been a part of me. But it's just that, like that time you feel, okay, now you know it. But then the next year you feel, okay, now I know it. But then it's just growth, right?
How do you differentiate between spirituality and religion?
Spirituality is not religion. Like you're not following a particular god or customs. It's just being, according to me.
So, tell me if it resonates with you. How I differentiate spirituality and religion is, so spirituality is believing in a higher power, right? God, universe, or whatever. And religion gives you certain rules to practice spirituality.
So even in spirituality, you don't have to believe in a higher power, right? Like if you're just
So,
meditative in
higher power,
nature,
energy, something bigger than yourself.
could be, but then I also feel just being present and not believing in any of this is also spiritual in nature, because just like mindfulness is also spirituality.
I see. Okay, okay. Uh, because I know we have talked about this manifestation and law of attraction and everything, and also that you recently were exploring Gabriel Bernstein. Uh,
Right.
Talk to me a few incidents where you actually saw miracles happening in your life. Would it
You
be okay
should
to
give
share?
these, I think you should give these questions to me in advance so I can think of it.
No, like whatever comes to you on, on the top of your head.
So, I don't know if I won't call it a miracle, but I would call it a very surprising process. As in, when I wanted to be a writer, and I didn't have any freelance money coming in, and I didn't know what will I do, how will I be a writer. That time even Medium didn't pay me so much, yeah? Like just hardly
Hmm.
anything, right? So that time when I used to wake up, and I read Power of the Subconscious Mind for I don't know like I'm trying to read it every year. So I think I was reading it when the year was ending. I did like a read
Okay.
Power of the Subconscious Mind and Secret and all these books. I just did like a refresher. And then I started imagining every day when I'd wake up, I'd think of just writing, like typing on my laptop and with like mountains and all in the background. And I don't even know why mountains, because I'm not a fan of mountains. I've lived there for 5 years and I think they're beautiful, but they don't fascinate me. So yeah, I would always think of that, and I would also think that I will do this, and everything will fall into place. I don't know how, but then I have faith that it'll fall into place, and it eventually did. Like till date, like if
Hmm.
somebody tells me where is your August income going to come from, I have no idea, but I know it's going to come. It's been happening since Feb. I mean, I
Yeah.
was earning more than my corporate salary starting Feb onwards. Even in Feb, I didn't know that where will it come from in March and April, but it did. So I think that is one.
Uh, Talk to me about your spiritual beliefs. What do you believe, like in general around spirituality?
So I just believe in a very simple thing that we're all always giving out energies, right? And it's not that it's my belief, it's literally scientifically proven. I mean, if you talk badly to a plant, the plant will die because that's just the power of negativity. So lately, I've come to realize that I don't need to do big things to be spiritual. I just have to mind my thoughts and mind what I
Hmm.
speak and mind what I listen to. When those three things are done, a lot of things fall in place because you filter out a lot of negativity out of your life. So, like I was just in ninth grade. So I was 12 or 13 when my English teacher said, never use the word hate because it's so powerful. It's so strong that it doesn't deserve it. Like it doesn't deserve your time and emotion. And since ninth grade, look at any of my old articles, poems, current articles. I've never used that word. I don't even speak it. I don't even
Hmm.
type it out for something casual. I just haven't used it. And with time, I've just become more mindful about the kind of words I use. And ever since I left Instagram, I also became more mindful that I should not talk about somebody else in a negative way. Because why, like, that person is not going to be bothered. Why bother my energies with it, right? So I think just these three things, just filtering out what you speak, hear, be around, that those things matter. So that's my belief.
So I actually have a similar kind of story around this. Uh, I'm not sure if we have talked about this yet. I met this monk, Tibetan Buddhist monk, in September last year, Karma Yeshe Rabge, and he I was obviously asking him for certain advices and stuff. So I mentioned him that I'm practicing non-violence. I'm a vegan. I don't, like kill plants, kill animals and stuff for my food and all that. So he mentioned you're practicing non-violence in action, and there are two levels beyond that. So non-violence in actions, non-violence in words, and then non-violence in thoughts, because our thoughts becomes our words, and our words becomes our actions,
Wow. I think
right?
except action, I'm practicing the others.
Totally okay, one step at a time. So he mentioned that okay, non-violence in words would mean no sarcasm. It would mean no curse words, and non-violence in thoughts would mean no judgment. It
Right.
would mean, like again, no attack even in your thoughts. And since then,
Exactly.
for the last 10 months now, I've been practicing and I'm successful 99% of the time because it's been 10 months. I don't use curse words like
Yeah.
F
I
word,
think
B word,
even
C word, or
just
whatever.
to observe something without judging it, whether it's a picture, it's somebody else's status, somebody's situation, it feels really good. I mean, every time you don't judge it, you see how far you've come because earlier you'd see something and you'd form a judgment. But those are like tiny attacks which are only self-inflicted, right?
Totally. And the benefit of that one shift, not saying curse words, was every time now my life is, like messy. I don't say my life is effed up. I say my life is messed up. And there's a lot of shift in these two sentences.
Yeah. I don't even, every time I think about something like, oh, things are not going well, I actually don't think of it that way. I just feel that I'm going to go through no matter what. So then such thoughts are automatically trumped.
Um, what have you read from Gabrielle Bernstein so far?
I've read her book called Super Attractor, and also like all these beliefs and all, they were not like nobody told me or I never read in a book. I think they were just a product of me reading and practicing a lot of things over the last so many years.
Here's what I believe is happening with me. I was born as a kid with every kid is born with so much purity and love and all that stuff, right? And then our parents and society and everybody start inflicting कि ये गलत हो सकता है, this could go wrong, that could go wrong, stuff like that, right? So we grow up with a lot of fear-based or limiting beliefs and stuff like that. And what I have seen in myself is since I went through depression and anxiety for the first time when I was again 19, 20 or something, I started unlearning all that stuff and relearning what I thought I needed. So all these
Okay.
books are kind of, I feel like revision material for me. Like at the
Okay.
core of myself, I feel I already know it, but sometimes it's good, as you mentioned, like reading one book again and again, like once a year, stuff like that.
Right.
Great. Uh, who do you feel? I know one person because we have talked about him, Lewis House. Apart from him, who else do you feel uh, speaks or talks a lot about who you are as a person? Like you could relate and resonate a lot with their content.
Nobody as good as Lewis House.
Seriously.
I don't even, I have tried other podcasts and I haven't tried Joe Rogan yet. That is on my list. But
Oh,
I haven't tried that. But apart from that, I have heard other podcasts, but I'm yet to see something as nice as Lewis House. In fact, just today morning, I was seeing other podcasts, but then I ended up playing his episode because it's just that for the heck of variety, there's no point of choosing variety when you're already getting value. Like that should be your main aim. It's not that, oh,
yep.
like there are 10 players, so I need to check out all those 10 of them. No. If like one person is giving you all the value you want in terms of relationships or spirituality, positivity, mindset, success, wealth, then why bother and waste your time to check out what others are up to? Like time is really precious. So I'm yet to listen to podcasts as invigorating as his.
What did you like the most about him and his content?
Just the variety of topics that he covers, and I think that makes me realize that sometimes it's really good to not have a niche. Like it's really good to
Hmm.
not have a completely wealth-driven podcast or just psychology or just health, self-help, but a little bit of everything is really good. And it's just like these really good scientists and authors, psychologists, neuroscientists coming on board and sharing what, like in 1 hour, you get a bite-sized knowledge and like a golden nugget of what they've spent decades and decades researching on. I think that's really valuable.
Hmm. Okay. And here's what's coming to my mind, because you're also a content creator in one way or the other, right?
Right.
What's on your wish list for the next 1 year or 5 years, something?
1 year and 5 years, there's a lot of difference, huh?
Like again, like what's something that you'd want? So, for example, I guess in the next 1 year, 2 years, or whatever, I'd want to learn baking. It's one thing on my wish list.
Oh,
Like
so
I really
like
want to
wish
learn.
list outside of career or something, just like a wish
Whatever
list.
comes to your mind, whatever comes to mind. Like in career, one thing is I uh, actually want to be a public speaker and give speeches in front of like a huge audience, one at a time. So anything that comes to your mind, personal and professional.
Yeah, I really want to do like I want to do a lot of things. I want to live in Bali for a month because I haven't like stayed like I haven't traveled for a month yet. I want to do that. I want to do wine tasting again. I have done it in Australia, but I really want to do it again. I think I didn't know as much. I didn't have as much knowledge about wine then like I do right now. So that's why I want to go again and do it. And yeah, like I have since many, many years on my wish list is to visit the concentration camps in Poland. So like wish list is never ending, yeah.
Never ending, never ending. What's something that you're working around, like in your wish list, that something that you feel is going to happen like really soon? And is it okay, like if you talk about it, because there are two school of thought. A lot
So
of
for
people.
now, right now, I mean, because of the pandemic, the only thing I have thought around is work because I know all these things would
Hmm.
have to take a back seat because it's just unsafe, right? It's not worth it. So
Totally, totally.
nothing that I like for these travel related experiences or something. I want nothing is like coming close, and I'm not going to do anything to get close to it until times are safer.
Makes total sense. I know this because you have shared it publicly as well. How was your COVID experience?
How was my?
COVID experience.
So starting 2020 was really good. I had a lot of fun, because I love staying at home. I'm quite introverted. I don't like parties. I don't like going out. I don't like meeting big groups of people. I love when plans get cancelled. Like I squeal with joy when plans get cancelled. So yeah, so I am that kind of a person. And I loved spending time at home and eating home food. Like it was just so replenishing and it was a huge journey of growth because like for the longest time, like everybody in my family was really
Hmm.
healthy and I was just reading, like I was really productive. It's just that when the second wave hit, my family fell ill. So everybody except my mom and I was really sick. So we had my grandmom in my house who was sick, and then we had like 4 people in my mom's house who was sick. So I was in my room, whereas my mom was like between two houses and sending them food or whatever. So those were some really hard few weeks. But then it's passed and we've come past it. So I'm very happy that everybody's doing fine now. But at that time, obviously, like I wasn't this casual. Like at that time, it was really difficult. And it was really difficult for me also to stay in my room. Like being confined to a room is very difficult. And I think like I'm just grateful that say like at least we have something as basic as like more than one room in the house so that people can be safe. So I'm
Hmm.
very grateful for these small things.
Amazing. Uh, must be tough, but thank you so much for sharing. Uh, Talk to me about your travel. Because I loved. I know that you deleted your account and your photos and whatever. But I love those pictures because I haven't
But you
really.
also only saw them for like I think ended up reactivating that account by mistake when I went to Dubai in December, and that's when you
Yeah.
ended up
So
seeing them.
yeah. So like it's not that I watched them like a lot of times, but I remember going through it once because you texted me
Yeah,
on Instagram. So
yeah,
I haven't had a chance to travel a lot yet. I was always in college
right.
and whatever reasons were there. But I'm planning to start traveling maybe in the next 6 months to a year or stuff. I want to travel.
Where do you plan to go?
I want to start with India. I have so the farthest I've gone through is Gurgaon. I lived there for 6 months.
Wow.
I've never been a lot of, never had a chance to travel a lot. So I would probably want to start with India, but later on, obviously, a Europe trip for sure.
Right. So, I mean, I've never really liked traveling because I have traveled quite extensively in India. And that's because my parents would take me. And I didn't like it at all, like the long car journeys and everything. I liked it when I reached there, but I really didn't like the long car journeys. And I have been to, except like I haven't been to Northeast yet, but I also stayed in Bangalore for 3 years. So I have been to quite a few places. So that's one, but like I think I only understood what traveling really means when I traveled solo because
Yeah.
it's very important to be out of your comfort zone. And I've always been outside my comfort zone. I was in a boarding school for 5 years. I was in a different city living all alone for 3 years in my undergrad. Then I was living abroad all alone for a year. So I was always outside my comfort zone. But traveling solo was one step even ahead of all of this. And honestly, like it's not a really rosy experience. Like I know people talk about, oh, I'm traveling or I'm going to Europe, but it's not as rosy as it looks because I remember, when I was in Amsterdam, I was actually Googling that why is travel so hyped up. I was so anxious because I was in a dorm with 32 people, and my bed was also next to the door. So even if one person goes and goes out and comes back,
Hmm.
the door's opening like over 60 times. And I was all alone and I saw so many men around me that I was damn scared. Yeah. Like I had like this jacket with pockets in it. I put my passport, phone, everything, hugged that jacket and slept, and I didn't sleep the entire night. So that happened, but then I actually ended up making friends there. Like I remember I was sitting and while I was anxious, like one guy came and spoke to me. He was from Poland. Then one woman from New Zealand came and spoke to me, and three of us were having a great time. We went to the red light district. We went out to a bar, and we had a lot of fun. So I think that's the night I slept at peace. And there was something so thrilling about this. That's why I traveled again and again. For that 1 year that I was living in England, it was easier to travel, much cheaper as well because it's in Europe. So that's what happened. And after that, since I've come back, whenever I plan a trip, like my family sticks along. But I hope that now that I'm not confined to taking X amount of leaves, I can travel with them, but also alone soon.
Hmm. Yes, that's the point I was thinking of. That solo travel is in itself a unique experience.
Yeah, it's very different because it's very, like I wrote this in one of my articles, which was that when I was like me right now, it actually feels like when you're about to go for a solo travel, like being self-employed, because it's like you're very anxious, but you're also very excited. So that, the mixture of feelings between and being
So
scared and being excited is a lot of fun.
yeah, so anxiety and excitement, your body doesn't
Yeah,
really differentiate. So it uh, feels almost same if you are either anxious or excited.
right. Yeah, and another thing about traveling is like I think I find it very thrilling to be in a place where I don't know anybody, where nobody knows me, I don't know the language. Once I went to this place where I didn't even know how to pronounce the capital, like it's actually Ljubljana, but it's written as Ljubljana, and I had no idea how to pronounce it. And I only went to that city because once like I was getting a cheap flight back. Otherwise, I had no plans of
Hmm.
going there. So really crazy experiences, yeah. Like because my longest travel was for like 18 days across 6 countries. And I was really missing Indian food on like day 15. But I had very overpriced Indian food, but Maggie saved me. And yeah, those 18 days were a ball. They were a lot of fun. Very challenging because it's very, very cold, but also fun.
This happened 2 years ago.
Now it's going to be 3 years.
Oh yeah, so we are also counting 2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
it exists, so we have to.
Yep, I yep, we have to. Anyway, so some tips for anybody who wants to start a solo travel trip, or somebody who's excited about solo traveling,
Right.
and where do they start?
I think start by planning first. Say if you plan to do multiple countries or multiple cities, even if it's in India, like I'm very nerdy about it. I actually printed out a map and I like made my route with a pencil so that I know where I'm going, you know. So I think to start, obviously have a chunk of your savings and have a clear estimate of how much are you going to spend there, and try to like see some local blogs about the money you'll spend. And also, like, we have so much information. Instead of following a blogger who says you'll spend X amount of the money a day, but then maybe you will not actually go and just see local restaurants. Like if you
Hmm.
want to go to Manali, just check out restaurants in Manali that, okay, this is how much a meal costs into five. I'm going to eat 5 times a day. So this is how much I'm going to spend. Do that, check out the transportation. And I check, like I book hostels. So I've always lived in hostels. So book
Hmm.
your place and yeah, good to go. And we even have couch surfing these days, which is not just for to like stay in for like on somebody's couch, but also to interact with people. So couch surfing is also a great app which gets travelers and locals together. If you're very, very bored, then use couch surfing and meet somebody and hang out.
You also tried travel blogging, right?
I mean, I didn't try it. I used to just put up my pictures and in different places. So yeah, and I must have written like I think less than 5 articles about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I was like doing my degree. So, and I never, even in my wildest dreams, I never thought I'd be a writer or something. So I never bothered even thinking in that direction. Going in that direction is another story.
Interesting. What other challenges you faced as a did you had other like Indians around you when you were studying abroad?
Yeah, yeah. A lot
Okay,
of
so
Indians, a lot of Pakistanis also.
okay, and what kind of uh, challenges you faced? You were
Yeah, I
22 when
think
you went there?
uh,
21.
21.
Yeah.
I think food was one, but then I didn't want to learn how to cook, and I still don't know how to cook.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so that was it wasn't a challenge, but it was definitely like a difficulty. The weather was a challenge because it's very cold in England, and like walking a kilometer till your grocery store in the chill, it's very cold. I mean, it's not even the kind of cold that we experience here in Delhi. It's the kind of cold which you feel is like piercing through your bones. So that was difficult. And also, like, things were culturally different. Like, my classmates, like, we didn't have many Indians in my class. So they were like predominantly either from China or Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like, culturally, a huge difference. But yeah, I don't think I had like major challenges as such because
Talk to me
1 year
about
just flies by.
that cultural differences.
No, by cultural differences, I just mean that because my classmates were also much elder to me, right? A lot of them were
Okay.
much elder to me. So, yeah, I mean, there wasn't, I really can't recall any great challenges because only because we were so busy, like whether it's with your classes or your presentations or your readings, and there's just so much you have to do in business school that,
So
yeah, a lot of,
let me rephrase the words here. Let's not talk about the challenges, but what was something new, like a surprising thing that you saw in those culturally different scenarios?
yeah, see, I didn't interact with a lot of people, so I think I
Okay.
won't be able to answer a culturally this different this thing because I'm also quite introverted, so I did not interact with a lot of people.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm a very big loner that way. In a good way, like that's how I would prefer myself to be. So
Okay. Makes sense. Sure. Why not? And talk to me about that influencer life. Why did you decide to delete your account?
so I didn't decide to delete it. My phone got spoiled and it got deleted. And so my
It
phone
got
got
locked
spoiled,
now.
and then I no, and then I deleted the account online because it wasn't getting fixed. And I thought, the how the algorithm works, I'm going to start losing followers. So I'll just disable that account. And then for like about 8 weeks, I stayed without WhatsApp, Instagram, everything. And I loved it. Like everything was going really well, and I was in touch with everyone. It's not that I lost in touch with my friends. I was in touch with everybody, but my screen time used to be on some days, it used to be like 15, 20 minutes or something. There was nothing to do on my phone. If it doesn't have any instant messaging or something, you don't chat. There's nothing to do if you're not texting. So I started having a lot of fun. And then I ultimately in November bought a phone. So that was like a good few months after July, right? So even
Oh.
then, I thought that I am. I'm very happy this way. Like I realized that with Instagram, you're just seeing so much of clutter every single day. It's not required. And I also read Deep Work by Cal Newport, where I realized that this really screws with your brain. I mean, we're all on our phones. Like we are not wired to see hundreds of pictures a day. And when I became more mindful, and because I'd already started meditating a year and a half before that, I figured that with these pictures came in so many thoughts. So with Instagram not being around, it's like my head was a hard drive, which was freed up with of a lot of space because of not looking at these pictures, forming judgments, forming thoughts, taking action, worrying about what will you upload. It just wasn't worth it. And what did I get from Instagram? Likes, comments, people saying they like my content, people saying they like my pictures. That's fine. But with Medium, I had a greater way to make an impact and I had a deeper way to make an impact. So I don't want to thrive on a visual medium, but I want to thrive on like a more content based medium. So I opened like a private Insta account in February, and till date, I don't have Instagram on my phone. I don't follow any influencer. In fact, even my friends who I follow, everybody's on mute. So if you open my feed, you won't see anything. It's blank. There's no story. There's nothing because I don't want to go through it again. When you experience the good side of things, why would you jump back into poison? And yeah, it's not like any of this is my opinion. Like when I read Deep Work by Cal Newport, I was mind blown by how interestingly the human brain works and how impacted we get. And just because this behavior is normalized, putting up stories of what you eat, what you do, what you wear, judging people, sending pictures, things like that, just because it's normalized doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It's like, when you're in England, a lot of people smoke. When you're on the streets, everybody's smoking. Just because it's normalized and everybody's doing it doesn't make it the right thing to do. So I really wish more people realize that because they would really untap into their potential. Like I untapped into mine. I think if this wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have untapped into my potential.
Number one, I feel attacked. Number two, I really feel that this is
Why?
really.
I've never seen, like, I haven't seen
Oh,
Instagram in very long. Okay.
no, not attacked by you, but attacked by this, uh, flow of thoughts. Because I actually want to think about it. Lately, I've been wondering that if my focus has been reduced because I've been spending so much time online, not just Instagram, but also Netflix and stuff. So that's a difficult conversation I need to have with myself after this call.
I just read deep work.
That's a really boring book, to be honest. I like that
Really? I
idea.
don't
I
know.
did deep work.
Yeah.
So, but so he's an academician, like he's an academic kind of person, and his language is not catchy. His paragraphs
Really?
have
Like I don't know
multiple
when
lines.
I read that book, I found it to be a page turner. And I also read on a Kindle, so you can customize a lot of things for your reading.
Maybe. So
Yeah.
I usually read books that have smaller paragraphs, crisp lines, and really simple English.
Okay.
Deep work didn't qualify to be that. I tried it, but then I read summary, and I actually worked with a coach who was training to be a new coach, and she was a deep work coach. And I worked with her for 1 month. It actually, I guess we talked about this in October last year. And usually my output has been 1 or 2 articles per week on Medium previously. In October, I published 23
Why did you stop writing on Medium?
because I found LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is kind of my love because it actually I enjoy writing short form a lot more than writing long form.
Okay.
That was really a big difference. So that's how LinkedIn. I had a lot of reach and followers on LinkedIn because of this very fact. Because I started enjoying. I was more into flow on writing on LinkedIn rather than writing on Medium. So even when
Okay.
I was a marketer, I was not a content writer. I was more of a copywriter. I used to write persuasive, engaging kind of copy. That was my. That's the reason I give myself why I don't write on Medium anymore. Anyway, here's something interesting that I'm really curious to learn more from you. Talk to me about energy healing or Reiki and whatever you learned about that. Obviously, not like I know you have spent so
Yeah.
much time.
I mean, I don't practice Reiki. Like I did learn it, but only I practice it very rarely. Like I practice it once in a few months when I think I want to balance my chakras or clean my aura or like just do like house cleaning and my surroundings. But I don't
Hmm.
practice it because there's only so much you can do in a day. And
Mm-hmm.
I already have like a 2 hour long fitness routine and I can't really add half an hour of Reiki in it.
Okay.
So I don't practice it. And I also feel with these kind of practices, you can't force yourself to learn it or practice it. It has to come from within. So I use
Mm-hmm.
it once in a while, but I don't do it on somebody else, even though I'm qualified to. I haven't done distance healing and I just do it for my own cleansing and for my house and everything.
So I'm curious to learn about what is Reiki, how do people do it, and what's the
Right. So
premise behind it.
it's like this old Japanese method. I forgot who started it. Usui something, or I forgot his name. So anyway, he started using energy and different Japanese symbols to heal people.
Okay.
And then he healed a lot of these people, who had who had illnesses and ailments and physical ailments.
Okay.
So that's how it started. The only thing is that in India we have this concept called Guru Dakshina, but there was nothing like that. But then he realized that because he was doing it for free, a lot of people started falling sick again and coming back, which is why
Hmm.
Reiki will always have an energy exchange that either you donate some money or you give me something, things like that, in order for this to
Hmm.
work. So, what Reiki uses is just the power of these certain Japanese symbols, which also have power like for different things. Like one would be for protection, one would be for physical illness, and one would be for purification. So, use of one would be for happiness. So, use of these symbols to heal the body, heal the chakras, and just change the energy which you have around you. In fact, if you take a crystal pendulum, say a rose quarters, and you put it on a hand which is just done Reiki, it's gonna, if the pendulum goes clockwise, it's considered to be positive, positive energy, and anti-clockwise is negative. And it doesn't just go clockwise, but it goes clockwise with very high energy. So that's like a proof of
Hmm.
energy measurement right there.
Okay. This is new and exciting. I have had a client who is into Reiki, but I never had a chance to explore this. Uh, can you go a little depth about some practices that people do? Like maybe just an overview?
So you can heal yourself and you can do distance healing. So even within yourself, like the method goes in such a way that you like do it on your body parts from head to toe, but then you also include your chakras in it because your chakras need purification. There are certain blockages that we have because of whether it's our past or childhood experiences or just current way of thinking. So Reiki helps you purify that and clear those blockages.
Okay. Thank you. New and interesting. Any book around this topic that
No, I've never read a book around Reiki, and you always have to learn it from a master.
okay.
So you can never
Okay.
like learn it online or something because somebody has to actually physically teach you how to do Reiki.
Hmm. Okay.
And they also give
Understand.
you guides and all to follow once you're done with the class.
Hmm. Maybe this is going to be on my wish list now. Anyway, okay. So you have been writing, and I know that you write amazingly well. Obviously, I've read your post.
Thanks. Thank
Uh,
you.
what do you think? What are the changes you made in your writing that really shifted your energy from here to really here?
Practicing actually.
Okay.
I mean, I've been writing for very long. I've been writing since I was 7. And that's
Mm-hmm.
nearly 18 years. So I've been writing for very, very, very long. The form changed. I mean, I used to only write poetry until high school. But in high school, I did poetry, but also some articles. But I stuck to poetry, and I was also like in the editorial team and everything. And after that, it was like having a passion blog. Then it was having Instagram. There was Quora. So I've never really stopped writing. I've always written, but it's just that yeah. So I think it's just with Medium. The only thing that changed was I suddenly wasn't doing it for just passion anymore. I was doing it to test
Hmm.
limits. That okay, I'm gonna continue having a lot of fun, and I'm gonna learn and execute those learnings. Like whether I'm Like whether I'm using a timer to write, that's one way to go about it. Or I'm like reading about, or I'm going to write about something entirely different that I'm unfamiliar about. I was just testing my limits. And for 4 months, I've been writing more than 20 articles every month. And yeah, like the only way I've been doing that is with practice. Like I don't spend a lot of time on it. It's like hardly 1 hour every day
Hmm.
on weekdays.
So if your writing is 18-year-old, if it would be a person, it would be adult already. Uh,
Yeah.
Talk to me about your writing process. Like, how do you go about it? You got an idea and it's executed. Tell me in
Uh,
between this phase.
so so I have this database of ideas because I do write like say 10 ideas every day, and I also miss a lot of days, so it's not like I'm very religious about it, but I have it. And I don't plan what to write, like I have no idea what I'm going to write today. I'm going to think about it after this call. But so after that idea, I create an outline, just basic headings and bullet points as to what will I include. And this doesn't really, sometimes I don't even look at that while writing. But what it does help me with is clear my head as to what will I write about. And after that, I start writing. And I try to finish my articles under like 1 hour. I mean, even 1 hour it only takes because I have like a really bad typing posture. Like I type with my wrists in the air with two fingers. So I have a really bad posture. Like I need
Why?
to take an on. I don't know. I just can't, like, my wrist is like it's actually started hurting because I've just have a very bad posture. I'm going to start taking that typing thing online, those tests, and also I have to start practicing it. I don't type with all my fingers, I type with like one or two fingers. So that's why it takes me so long. Otherwise, I try to like finish it within 40 minutes and then I forget about that article. I look at it the next morning and that's when I edit it. I first edit it on my laptop and then I edit it on my phone because I believe that most people are reading on the phone. So I want to make it phone friendly. And that's my writing process.
Hmm, interesting. Obviously, you are on a break for the last 2 weeks. Break as in, like really
Right.
doing so less of a work. Um, Give me a moment. So one thing, as you mentioned, is the practice, doing a lot of writing, obviously, right? Second thing, as you mentioned, like creating a process where you have some ideas stored in your journal or somewhere, keeping a track of it and outlining a little bit and stuff. In the writing itself, what are the elements you think have helped you become a better writer?
That less is more. Remove commas, make sentences instead of one long sentence, and cut down as much as possible. Don't repeat yourself. Don't make it about yourself. Refrain from things writing I believe or I think because you are writing it. So I think your audience already knows this is what you think or you believe, right? And
Hmm.
remove everything that's repetitive, even if it's at the top and bottom, and just make it really simple. Like just make it super, super simple, and that's gonna work.
You're
And it's
also an
actually harder to make it simple.
Yep, true. You're also an editor, for the publication in fitness and
In
in health,
fitness
right?
and in health, yeah, and soulful actually. So two of
Okay.
my writing colleagues, Shivendra Mishra and David, three of us have started a
Oh,
spirituality publication where only three of us post once a week, and we
okay.
also have auto curation, so that's pretty cool.
Wow, congrats. I'm like missing a lot of things on media. I'm not really active there. Uh, so, do you enjoy being an editor?
Yeah, like we're only posting our things, and even in fitness and in health, like my co-editor Scott takes care of the publishing. So yeah, but I enjoy being an editor, like but because on Medium I'm not really doing anything, so I enjoy it. But otherwise, when I do freelance gigs, I still enjoy it. Like
Because I remember you have like crazy good English.
like
I know it.
I
Yeah.
mhm.
Go on.
I really enjoy all parts of the writing process very thoroughly. Like I don't find anything to be painful, whether it's the writing process, ideating, cutting down, editing. Like the only reason I do it is because I enjoy. Otherwise, I would never do it. Because this is not something the society is constructed for me that I have to do it, right? It's something I've taken for
Yep.
myself.
Makes total sense. And have you found yourself reading more books over the year or fewer books?
Same. And I never bother about the quantity of the books that I've read. I read like over 30 books last year. And I don't know if I'm on book number 20 something for this year. But I don't have a goal that I want to complete X amount of books in August or in July or any month. Because what's the point? Like, what's the point of pressurizing yourself and reading? The entire point is that you have fun. What if I just speed read through it to complete a quantity? The only person who's going to suffer is me, right? So just to tell to the world that you're reading 20 books a year, but then you're not even like enjoying or you're just pressurizing yourself, that's not fun. I would say might as well read 3 books a year, but read it thoroughly and enjoy every time you read it.
Do you finish all the books you read?
Yeah. Unless like there's something really boring and I can't make it through the first 50 pages, and then I know if I've read 50 pages and I can't read after this, then I don't read it.
Hmm. Okay. And how do you pick a book?
I have a wish list on Amazon, so
Ah,
sometimes things get added because I'm at the airport and I'm seeing something, or I'm in a book, like I'm in a library, or I'm in a book, what do you call it, a bookshop.
bookstore. Yeah.
So yeah, bookstore or like other people's recommendations. So I just add all of it to wish list.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I have seen myself reading, actually buying more and more books, but reading fewer and fewer over the years. And my philosophy
Okay.
behind it is, number one, I don't want to finish any book unless I want to. Like, I don't need to finish any book unless I want to. There are certain books that I definitely would want to finish and I want to read them again. Otherwise, most of the times, what I do is, my philosophy is, I would pick up a book, I'll check it out, I'll read, one chapter, two chapter, and I'll pick up one thing that I can apply from it. Then I'll
Okay.
apply it, and if I feel good about it, I'll go back and I'll read more about it.
Okay.
And then there are certain books, like Mindful to Mindful, or a book of kindness by Swami, and they are just filled with good, feel good kind of stories. Like Gaur Das talks a lot about feel good kind of stories, right? uh,
Hmm.
when you read that book, you have basically no agenda. You just want to feel good, and that's totally okay. But otherwise, that's been my theory, and I've seen a lot of people, because I used to be a book reviewer. That's how I started my journey. I've been a book reviewer, book critic. Now people are bookstagrammers kind of as well, right? So I used to be that person 4 years, 5 years ago. I That's why I have a lot of people in my circle who are hardcore book readers and book reviewers, and they count all the books they read. I'm like, I don't think I can ever do that.
But you also don't finish it, so then how do you count it?
Exactly, exactly. Like I don't even
Yeah.
want to finish every book, because 80-90% of self-help is like almost the same thing over and over again. Like, a lot of books that are written today could only be a good blog post.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know because I finish everything I read. Like I do it because I enjoy while I do it. And also because like I do learn from it. And I feel the base concept of a book is similar, but then it's
Hmm.
always the depth which matters, right? And when
Yep.
that depth is applied to different topics, some people can find it boring, but then some people actually have takeaways from those intricacies.
Exactly, exactly. So I have read the books of Gabriel Bernstein, I guess 3 or 4 in the last 1 year, and I've read cover to cover at least once, because they made me, like, sit back and actually read them from cover to cover.
Okay.
But so, what are you reading these days?
I'm reading Never Split the Difference. It's about negotiation, and it's
Negotiation.
yeah, it's
How's
written
the
by
book?
this former FBI agent who was in crisis management and negotiation. It's really good. It's really, really good. And the thing is, they're not really teaching you, but he's actually talking about his own personal experiences and how they negotiated and came out of it. And then from that incident, what is a lesson that you can take away?
Hmm. And
And I
what's been
only
the
started it 2 days ago.
okay, really recent? What's been the most influential books of your life that you have read so far?
I think Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins really it really changed my life. I mean, I think anybody who thinks that they're out of place or they want to do something more or they want to do something different, just read it. Like right now, I'm very different from how I was a year ago. Right now, I don't have self-doubt. And I'm very happy to say that, that I just don't second guess myself and I don't care about how it's going to be perceived or what others think. I've become very fearless. And a year ago, I used to think a lot about, oh, this will go wrong or that'll go wrong or what others think. But now I don't have self doubt. And it's that book which made me this way. And since I've combat that, I've done really good things. I mean, he really destroys your belief system. It's like if you're reading that book, you just can't have negative belief systems because he will destroy it chapter by chapter. And he really destroyed mine. So, I mean, it's a life changer. Like, I think like what I say will be an understatement to how great that book is. And that too, it's not aimed at one thing, it's aimed around your life, whether it's your work or wealth, relationships, body language, public speaking, thinking, mindsets. It has everything.
Sounds good. I want to check that book now. So another good thing that I started about books, like I guess a year ago, uh, any book that's around 500-600 or whatever, like less than $10 or something, I'll not, think twice before buying it, because if I have it on my shelf, I'll probably read one chapter of it. If I read one chapter of it and I apply it and I get something good out of it, it's a lot more, worth than what I spent on it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Books are an investment. I've never bothered about price. I mean, also because I have a Kindle, so if a book is very, very expensive, like sometimes a book is like 500 in real, but then on Kindle it's for like 75 or 150, then obviously I'd buy it on Kindle.
Do you prefer Kindle over paperbacks?
So I have both. Like I read both, but I'm very happy with both. I don't think that paperbacks are better, Kindle's better. Like you just have to read. And we're anyway on our phones and laptops all day. So I really enjoy reading on the Kindle as well.
I don't believe any one of them is better, but it's like more of a question of like what do you prefer. I bought a Kindle, I guess 3-4 years ago. I tried reading it for a month, then I gifted it to my sister. I'm like, just take it. I
Really?
can't do it. I need to actually like underline, make notes, and I do that kind of stuff with my book.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't do any of that. Like my books are completely clean. I don't
Super
do
clean.
anything.
Thank you so much, Niharika, for sharing whatever you shared. I see. So when I talked to you about your resume, I was so curious and excited to get on this call with you because I've seen myself doing so many different things. Then when I see your resume, I see how you have been involved in so many different things, right? Here's something that I feel is really, really necessary for a lot of people right now. A lot of people are finding it hard to get a job at this time, and you have been in a place of recruitment, right? What can they do? Whoever is finding it hard. So obviously, one thing is to upskill and start a side hustle. We'll talk about that as well. But let's say somebody wants to get a job, how can they go about it?
I think one important thing is that customizing your resume and cover letter is very important. Instead of having one resume and sending it to 150 places, think
Okay.
about 5 or 10 places you want to get into. Look at the job description, see. And the trick about customizing your resume is always that you want to be the best fitment, right? So, what is it
Hmm.
that they want? And with those 3 points, A, B, C, what is it that you offer correlated to those points? And work your resume in a way so that you mention those things because then they will see as a direct fitment. And then like go to job description number 2 and see that what are the 3 points that they absolutely want in somebody and demonstrate that you've done that. Mention no, don't just mention you have like you can do this, but also mention about like I have done this project where I increased whatever by X amount of percentage, anything. So customizing resumes is important because like when you apply to like with one resume to 150 places, people know that this is not tailored for them. And you
Hmm.
are more likely to at least get a phone call when it's tailored for them.
Okay. And again, I don't have a personal experience with this, but I've seen it on LinkedIn that a lot of people are complaining that companies are kind of, a lot of companies, not all, obviously, are taking advantage of this pandemic to not offer good salaries.
I actually don't know how much of it is true. Like, I was in a company throughout the pandemic. Fine, we were very lucky that we did not get, nobody got laid off. We did not get a cut. We did get our appraisals. We got our bonuses. So I was very grateful to be in such a company. But I never heard of things like that people are getting, and we were hiring also. We were hiring a lot of people because we needed people. It did freeze for a while, but we were hiring till very recently. And I wasn't in recruitments there, but I've never internally heard of anything like this. And also the thing about LinkedIn is people put up a lot of things. There are a lot of people who put up things like I need a job and I'm suffering and things like that, but then people have called them out that this person is fake. So people do crazy things, and I think just because you read something from somewhere doesn't mean it's true. It may be true, and that's sad. And but I don't know how much of it is true because I've seen my friends getting really good jobs, negotiating for salaries, just like how they would outside of the pandemic. So I don't know how much of it is true. And if it
So,
is true, if it's happening, then go to a different company. It's just that.
so I'll tell you about this because I have a friend of mine, okay, a really close friend. I don't want to obviously reveal the identity. He's an amazing marketer, amazing. He has delivered crazy results. For some reason, he has to shift back to, this Chandigarh from Mumbai, so or Delhi or wherever, because he has worked at multiple places. Uh, so geographically, he couldn't get a really great company. Okay, obviously the employment opportunities are so better in Delhi, Mumbai, or Bangalore.
Right.
So he told me, Dipanshu, before this year, wherever I have applied, so I used to apply only at one or two places, but wherever I've applied, I've gotten into that company with a good package and stuff. But this time he's finding it hard. So that's why, like I have this, not really a deeply personal, but I know someone was
Right.
going through this.
I think one thing they could do is apply for a remote job because a lot of companies are hiring remote workers, so he can stay at his preferred geographical location.
Okay, that makes sense. Uh, all right, all right. And do you think like publishing those posts on LinkedIn would help anyone getting a job?
What was?
Like, I want a job, I need a job, and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are helpful at this time. In fact, one of my friends, he was in Byte Dance and they laid off a lot of people because the government banned them. He actually created a spreadsheet so that his fellow colleagues can put up their resumes, email IDs, numbers, LinkedIn profiles, just to create a database that guys like I have really cool colleagues, please hire them. And that spreadsheet helped a lot of people.
Hmm, that makes sense. Yes. And let's talk about the other side of this. Like, let's say you're not laid off, or even if you're laid off,
Right.
you have certain savings for 1 2 months or stuff like that, and you want to create a side business or something like that. And I know that you have an experience of creating a side business from scratch and successfully being self-employed, taking the leap of
Yeah, man,
faith.
like so far, very grateful. So I think it's very important for everybody to have a side hustle, even when they're doing the full-time job. And the biggest importance is not financial. Like even till today, when Medium pays me money, every time my article makes money or when I'm getting a monthly payout, every single month I'm in all that wait, like people are actually reading what I'm writing. Yeah, must be like thoda thoda, it must be nice that if people like it. But I don't feel that, oh, like I earned this much last month, utna to I need to earn as a base. I don't feel that way. Like every time I'm in all that, it's writing, it's working 1 hour a day, which is getting me money. Or even with freelance gigs, like I never even knew you could make money writing. So writing was very secondary. And even today, if Medium starts paying me 5 times of what I'm making, but if I have to really slog and not have as much fun as I do right now, then I'm not going to do it. So I think you don't have a side hustle to create money. That's a byproduct. Be so good at it that it makes you money. But the benefits of a side hustle are very different. I think one of the benefits is that it's very important. So scientifically, it's very important that your brain is always engaged in doing something difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And during my full-time job, it was writing because it was difficult. Taking out time before and after work was difficult. Doing a freelance gig for like a fintech startup based in Australia was difficult because I didn't know about it. When you're doing difficult things, like when you're doing things which challenge your brain, you're going to be good at even your main hustle, right? You're going to not
Yep.
only get better at your side hustle, but also be good at your main hustle. So this is actually proven in a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth that you always have to do one hard thing. That hard thing can be anything. It can be yoga, it can be learning an instrument, it can be learning a language, but it's something that needs to push your boundaries and that'll do good to you in different spheres in life. Another benefit of having a side hustle is that it's good to do things which bring you joy because suddenly I think we're in the system where people just don't live as joyful lives. Nobody has hobbies, nobody has a passion, most of the people don't even exercise, and they're not to be blamed because they don't have the time. When I used to go to
Yeah.
office, a lot of my, like, I was lucky that I live in a place that my office was 6 minutes away, so I was really lucky. But I know a lot of people travel 1.5 hours just one way, and that
Yep.
is that is mentally also very exhausting. So I don't blame them, but like the only way to do something that you will work a little, say 3 hours a week on weekends also, is when you do something that's enjoyable. And I think the second reason to do a side hustle is because you will enjoy it. Okay. And I think, see, there's a third reason is that you're gonna get better and you won't even imagine how much better you'd become. Like I never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I'm gonna be doing a project that I'm doing, that I'm gonna be getting paid the amount that I am. I never even thought that's possible. So having a side hustle really helps you break that glass ceiling. And just because like becoming better at what excites you is a great feeling because you're not competing, but you're also getting better and you can see that growth. I think
Mm-hmm.
another reason of a side hustle that you should do it is because of the people that it connects you with. I have come in contact with people I've never even met in my life. And there are
Yeah.
some people I have to talk to at least once a week. And I've never even met them. I don't even know how tall they are. How do they look in real life? Because we all look different in pictures. I have no idea. And I have spoken to like editors of publications. I've spoken to a lot of random people who've just selflessly helped me. And I think in the beginning, like you were the first one, like you were how it started because I was very apprehensive about talking to people, but then you just gave a very safe space and you were very willing to help without expecting anything in return. And what that did was create a ripple effect where I helped somebody without expecting anything in return. And even since I got on Twitter, like I've had some really good DMs, I've spoken to some really cool people. So just connecting to these people who have your back, who will help you selflessly, who don't want anything in return, and who just make a rainy day brighter, like I think that's the largest benefit. Like I would not lose that for anything. And I'm actually getting an ebook together for those who want to pursue a side hustle because I just think it's important. And I think I actually started a LinkedIn poll, and a few hundred people, like I think about 500-600 people voted, and 37% of them said that we want to start a side hustle but don't know how to. So I hope that ebook helps bridging the gap between the two. It's going to be free. So I really just hope it's of any help.
Sure. Uh, and it's funny that you mentioned about that, helping selflessly or serving somebody. I'm glad. I don't even
and
know that
and
I
it
had that
creates a
kind of.
ripple effect. Like you didn't even know that it's impacted
Yeah,
me in a way that I want to do it to somebody else. And probably when I
100%.
did that, they must have done the same thing for somebody else. So like kindness really does create a ripple effect.
A lot. And talking about when you network with a lot of people, so I'll tell you, because I also know you are from Quora. When did you start using it?
It was sometime in my undergrad, must be 2015 or 16.
So I started in 2015, and Angsha was writing in, I guess, 2014. And I remember I read her name because she was already famous back then on Quora. I read her name and I was writing my first novel back then, which was somehow so stupid and I deleted it. Anyway, so I wrote the name of my character as Ananksha in the book because I really
Oh,
loved her name and I idolized her. Like she's such a great writer and stuff. And 1.5 years ago, she needed some help. I don't remember what kind of help. And through some common friend, he asked me, "Will you talk to her? Like she needs this kind of help." And I got on a call with her and said, I don't believe that I'm talking to you. And we are best friends now, 1.5 years later. And I met so many people that I couldn't even imagine, like I'm on a call with you right now, like I'm talking to you. Like you are a real person, you're talking to me only, like I'm getting 100% of your attention. So, Tony Stubblebind, Coach Tony, right?
right.
I did my certification from Coach Taught Me in November, December. I came on that platform in October, I guess. I discovered that. He's the owner of Better Human, Better Publications, Better Marketing and stuff. So he is he has created so many stuff that I use every single day. And he announced that, like he's doing this office hours and stuff, like free meetings and stuff. And I got on a call with him and there was nobody else. And it was just him and me. And I was like, such a fanboy. Like I I stopped. Like I don't know what to talk about. Like I showed him my gratitude list. Like today I wrote your name in my gratitude list. Like thank you so much for doing whatever you're doing. And 6 months down the line, I sat with him for 2 hours and had this kind of an interview. It was so good. He called me his peer. Like he said, we are peers now. So this networking thing, I couldn't imagine I'll be talking to these people.
Right. And also that there's actually a lot of goodness in the world. There are a lot of people who want you to do good and they're good with you doing good. I think yeah, like and connecting with those kind of people, I think it's a great place to be in. Like even say Jordan, who's the editor of Mind Cafe on Medium. I mean, he's really nice to speak to, and I understand how busy he must be. And he's really nice to speak to. And same with Amardeep. Like when I was new on Medium, I bombarded him with questions. But then I realized that, oh, wait, he's the editor of a major publication. I stopped bothering him. And like last week, we were on like an hour, like our call was for 1 hour, but then we were just chatting for an hour and a half. And yeah, like people are really good.
Yep,
So
yep. So talk to me about the Medium journey. How did you start? How did you grow in that? And I believe Medium has a lot to do with your self-employment.
yeah, I think it does. Medium has been a very, I don't know, it's been a very unreal journey. Sometimes something is too good to be true, and you just feel that, oh my God, like, how is this happening? And then
Yep.
that also sort of creates this, is this going to keep happening? What if it goes? But it's been a
Yep.
really great place to be in because it's really improved me as a writer. I feel all this while I was the only person writing, and I didn't have fellow peers who were writers, and I didn't like read a lot of writers. But only when I saw that, when I saw really good writers, I thought that I need to up my game big time. So
Hmm.
Medium really helped me improve my craft. And also, I always want to be in good publications, and I always have, you know, since at least like since the last 4 months that I've been publishing 20 plus articles, they've either just been in like Mind Cafe or Started Up, Curious, all really good publications. Postgrad Survival Guide is like one of my favorite places to publish on. And they
Yep.
rejected me for like first 4 5 months. Nothing got accepted. So it really improved me as a writer. It really got me closer to really good writers. And like I think I became a better thinker because I became serious about writing. Because like I said, when I create an outline of that article, it doesn't describe the article's flow, but it clears my head as to the thought that I have. How can that thought be broken down into chunks of paragraphs? How can those paragraphs have really really important points that the other person takes value? So I think um that is how Medium really changed my thought process and made me a clearer thinker. And as a writer, I think I found a perfect gateway to, give value, but without the pressure of Instagram, algorithm, picture, editing, how I look, how my hair is, how my skin is, without all of that absolute bullshit.
Totally. Okay. So here's something that I want to ask, on the same topic. You mentioned one thing that it definitely helped you up your game in writing, right? Level up your writing. How exactly did it help you in becoming self-employed?
So Medium, so actually, I don't, I think it helped me become self-employed because of the confidence and the catalog it gave me.
Hmm.
But I've never used Medium financially for anything at all. Like that money is something I've never even seen because of other reasons. So yeah, I think Medium just gave me that confidence and security, and that's helped me get freelance gigs. And I think it was just mainly my belief and confidence. That's why Medium helped me, because I never knew I'm good until I started getting into great publications, until a lot of people started liking what I read. Like there's an article and in a week it got like 25,000 views. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is pretty great. And it also gives me the platform to, write about different things, absolutely different things which I've never written about. And yeah, so I think when it comes to self-employment, it wasn't the financial help. It gave me a financial security, but not financial help because I've never used that money. But it definitely gave me a lot of confidence, and it gave me a catalog of pieces to show to potential clients that, hey, like this is what I've done.
Hmm. Makes total sense. Great. And if anyone would want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
I think LinkedIn or email is a good place to get in touch.
Okay. All right. Plus, I know that I'm not a really regular reader of your newsletter, but I check them every once in a while. They'll end up in my inbox. So I don't delete them right away because I have a faith that someday I'll read it. And then I read it like every, I guess,
Yeah, even
3 weeks or so.
I read all the newsletters like one day a week. Like I keep getting them, but then
Hmm.
I'll just have that one day and I'm gonna read all of them then. Because like it's a lot of them are by my friends, so I want to support as well. And they're actually nice. Like they do give value. So
Yep, totally. So what I'm going to do is, whoever is watching and listening, I'm going to put the link in the description. And Niharika is a really nice person, as you have seen. Anything you need help with around this topics, you can ask them in the comments. Reach out to me, reach out to Niharika, and we'll see the best way we can help you out.
and I
All right.
only send one mail a week, so you would not be spammed.
I say the same thing in my email list that
Yeah.
when you subscribe to it, I don't spam my email list.
And
So even
also
if
like
I
the
send,
side
yep.
hustle, right? The side hustle ebook idea actually came from the newsletter because a lot of it, like the LinkedIn poll came afterwards. But when I told people that I've become self-employed, a lot of people messaged me that I want to do this or I want to have a side hustle.
Yeah.
And then in the next newsletter, I announced that, I'm going to get something together to help you guys. So the newsletter people would be the first ones to know when that ebook is out.
Do you wanna be a like kind of a business coach or something? Do you wanna
I
try
don't
that?
want to be a coach at all. I don't want to be a coach.
Sure, sure. Uh, all right then. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up,
Thanks for
having this
having me.
conversation. Most welcome. And who is watching and listening, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.